So we are live on YouTube.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Has Ms. Kennedy checked in with you and can you hear her?
Yes, we've tested.
Great. She and I were testing this last night and we had some challenges, but then we sorted it out. So we just wanted to make sure.
Good morning, everyone. Are we ready to proceed?
We are.
Yes, Ms. House.
Thank you. Okay, this is our ICF arbitration between Woodlands County and the town of Whitecourt. This is August 23 at 10 a.m. We're live streaming as well as recording. I understand today we have two witnesses scheduled. One is Kara Kennedy and the other is Trent West, the expert from the town on fire services. So is there anything we have to deal with before we move to Ms. Kennedy?
I don't believe so on my end.
No, I don't believe so, Ms. House. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Kennedy, my name is Deborah Howes. I'm the arbitrator in this matter. Thank you for joining us today. Our practice is to ask witnesses to give a civil promise that they will tell the truth. We call it an affirmation. Do you have any objection to doing so?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it's Kara, K-A-R-A, and Kennedy, K-E-N-N-E-D-Y. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, Kara Kennedy, do you solemnly affirm that the evidence you will give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Both counsel will have questions for you, so I'll let you proceed.
Hey, Ms. Kennedy, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I am going to ask you to confirm that you have in front of you your witness statement dated July 31, 2021.
Yes.
Okay. And if I can have you turn to page 8 of that document, please.
Okay.
And then above your printed name there under signed July 29, 2021, is that your signature?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And when you signed this statement, before you did so, did you review the contents?
Yes.
And you believe they were true and accurate to the best of your knowledge at that time?
Yes.
And have you had an opportunity to review them again, the contents again, before giving evidence today?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and do they remain true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are. There's one thing maybe I should clarify. I noticed something when I was rereading it. Our point number 9 in brackets, it says same as town for items A and B. And that's more pertaining to phase 1 and phase 1 and 2, saying that we both gave money. But I noticed like the amount for 2017, for example, we have 25,000 and the town's number is slightly different. So the numbers are not exactly the same. So when it says same as town, it alludes to the same amount of money, but that's not necessarily the case.
Okay, so you're saying it's the same in the sense that they both contributed? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time you thought these numbers were correct, I take it?
Yeah, and I think one of the letters we had said, you know, the group asked for $25,000 from both. I just didn't realize like the numbers weren't the exact same that were donated.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I don't have any more questions for you, Ms. Kennedy, but Mr. Ward, I expect will have questions for you. And then also Ms. Hauser, arbitrator, may also have some questions at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Mr. Ward, do you have any objections to marking this as an exhibit?
I don't. Ms. Roberts, just to clarify in the statement that's being marked, I think when you provided this, it was missing the visitor tracker information summary page. is the one that's provided here, does that now include that missing tab for the purpose of marking it as an exhibit?
It probably doesn't, and it's actually just a portion of a tab that is in there. So thank you for remembering that. I apologize. It was actually Ms. Kennedy who identified that. So it is, so I wonder, Ms. House, I'll try to back up. Mr. Ward's identifying the fact that after we put the statement in, Ms. Kennedy noticed that when we were scanning in the exhibits or the tabs materials, one of the tab materials was missing off the first page, which was like essentially a computer generated tally of the information that's handwritten on the other documents. So we provided that to Mr. Ward and Mr. Swanberg, and they didn't have an objection to us giving it to you. I just haven't put it in this one, and it was simply an oversight on my part. So I'm wondering whether we can either mark that separately and then note where it belongs, or how you would like to proceed. I could provide a updated statement, but we'd be pausing while we send that off to Ms. Antler. So we're in your hands about how you would like us to proceed, and I do apologize for the oversight.
Okay, so I picked up one part was the summary sheet that is supposed to be part of tab 5, or says that it's tab 5 when it's actually details in tab 5. That's paragraph 20. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, and so the cover page of that bundle of details was supposed to be the tallied sheet, and
Okay.
it just got missed.
Is there supposed to be more sheets in tab 5 other than that summary table that's missing?
No.
I think it's, oh, sorry. I just need to go to my copy of that. Ms. Antler, can you just go to tab 5 and open it? And if you scroll down through that. Yeah, no, that's correct. I just wondered if maybe you had a different version. Yeah, it's correct. All those pages are supposed to be there. The only page that's missing is the cover page, which was just essentially a table.
Okay, then I suggest that you send the table to me and Ms. Antler right away,
Okay.
and that will mark it as a separate exhibit.
Okay, very good. And then I can do that if Mr. Ward would like to proceed, if that's agreeable with everybody. And we can have the witness authenticated at some point along the way, if that's helpful. Or would you rather we pause while I get it and send it to Ms. Allen?
How quickly are you going to refer to it, Mr. Ward?
I can make sure I don't refer to it for the initial part of my my cross exam, if that provides my friend some time to get it to you.
Thank you. Okay, so send away. Then we're going to mark the witness's statement dated July 31st, 2021 as Exhibit 22. And when the other page comes, it will be identified and then marked, hopefully, as Exhibit 23, depending on what we've come across in the meantime. So go ahead, Mr. Ward.
Thank you, Ms. House. Ms. Kennedy, you are currently your title is Project Manager for Woodlands County, is that correct?
Yes.
And what does that role involve?
Currently, I'm working on an asset management project. So we're getting all of our spatial data and expected useful lives and whatnot for all of our infrastructure. And prior to that, I was working on a payroll implementation project.
So your current job duties don't include overseeing the county's recreational or cultural programming, is that right?
That's correct.
But is it from 2015 to 2019 that you were the manager of parks, recreation, and facilities?
Yes, and prior to that, I was a coordinator in the recreation.
And in that role, were you responsible for overseeing any recreational programming delivered by the county?
Yeah, the recreation sites and the programs, yep.
And were you also involved in coordinating with the town with respect to recreational services that were delivered by the town of Whitecourt?
No, I wouldn't say that I had involvement in what they delivered.
Okay. Were you involved in dealing with cost sharing with respect to recreational services delivered by the town?
No, not in any regards to like approving any of the cost share, if that's what you mean. Like I had no involvement in approving any of their stuff.
Okay. Would you be involved in reviewing costs or programming information that was provided by the town of Whitecourt to the county?
A couple of times, I think I was asked to look at some of their budgets, and we had met with Miss Grande a couple of times. I maybe went to one of the community services board meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is now responsible for recreational services at the county after you moved out of that position, Ms. Kennedy?
So they've split that portfolio. So the field, all of our infrastructure in the field and the maintenance of our recreation sites is looked after by our infrastructure department. And so Mark is our, I guess, parks supervisor, and he reported to me previously. So now he's doing all those same duties, but he reports to our infrastructure department. And then the programming and dealing with the community groups and the recreation grants, all that stuff is still through the community services committee and through Miss Anderson and Miss Lutwig.
So you said Miss Lutwig, Miss Anderson, and when you referred to Mark, sorry, what is Mark's last name?
Sorry, Mark Neisel.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you turn to paragraph 8 of your witness statement, Ms. Kennedy? That's on the 3rd page.
Okay. Yep.
There you say that the mountain bike park is operated by the Whitecourt Mountain Bike Association. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Would you agree that the town of Whitecourt owns that mountain bike park?
Oh, I don't know if they own it. I think it's the mountain. Well, I believe they have a rec lease on there through the government that the mountain bike club has their jumps and trails on.
Is it fair to say you're not certain of the ownership of the mountain bike park?
Yeah, I guess you could, yeah. Yep, you could say that.
Is it your understanding that the town of Whitecourt entered into an agreement with the Mountain Bike Association to operate the park?
Yes, Miss Grande had attached that to her statement.
Okay. Would you agree that Woodlands County contributed to capital projects associated with constructing the mountain bike park?
Yes.
And am I right that the county initially covered 50% of the mountain bike park's operating costs?
Yeah, like I have in there what we gave them. I'm assuming when I look at Chelsea's numbers, the numbers aren't exactly the same 50-50, right? So we gave less money in 2016 than what the town did. So I'm not sure if that's, I guess it's not quite 50-50, but we definitely gave money.
And is it your understanding that it was in 2017 that the county reduced its contribution to, I think it's 24.8%?
Well, when I look at the numbers, Mr. Ward, we gave 25,000 and the town almost gave the same for 2017. So I would think that year it's still 50-50. I do know that we did reduce it afterwards. So I would say it was a little bit later than 2017 based on the numbers that were given.
Fair enough. And Ms. Kennedy, do you have any recollection of the decisions around changing cost contributions, or are you relying simply on the numbers that you have there in terms of what the contributions were by the county?
No, that decision was made by county council to reduce it from 50-50.
All right. And you think that was, I suggested 2017, but you thought it may have been later in 2018?
Yes.
Am I correct that county residents are members of the Whitecourt Mountain Bike Park Association?
Yes, according to the membership numbers provided by the Mountain Bike Club.
And would you agree that there is no equivalent mountain bike facility located in Woodlands County?
Yes.
Can you refer to paragraph 14 of your witness summary? So that's on the next page 4.
Okay.
So there you state that the Whitecourt Curling Club is operated by a third party. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you agree that the town of Whitecourt owns the building that houses the curling club?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the town is responsible for maintenance costs associated with that facility?
I believe they are responsible for maintenance costs with the building envelope, but not necessarily, I would think the ice plant and things like that would be the responsibility of the curling club.
And are you basing that on your review of an agreement with the curling club?
No, I've never seen, when I have looked at some of the town budgets in the past, I don't recall seeing like curling club or the curling arena in there.
Right.
I'm sure I've read in Chelsea's that they do the building envelope as they own the building, but the curling club is responsible for their maintenance of their equipment.
All right. So when we talk about maintenance, there's a distinction that the town's maintenance responsibilities, in your understanding, are restricted to the building itself, whereas the equipment used and operated by the curling club is maintained by the club. Is that correct?
That would be my assumption, yes.
And again, would you agree that there are county residents who are members of the curling club?
I wouldn't know if they're members of the curling club or not.
Would you agree that in 2011, 2012, the county contributed to a significant renovation of the curling club's facility?
Yes, based on Ms. Grande's evidence.
Have you reviewed Ms. Grande's evidence in preparing for today, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
And so based on your reference, do you agree with Ms. Grande's description of the contributions the county made to the curling club facility?
And back in 2011 and 12, I wouldn't have been involved in those decisions. So I'm trusting that what Ms. Grande put in there is what was done.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I take it then, if I asked you about those renovations and whether they were approved by the Joint Liaison Committee, you don't have any knowledge or understanding of those things?
No.
Okay. Ms. Kennedy, in your experience dealing with recreation, would you agree that people are most likely to use the facilities and services that are located closest to them?
Yes.
And would you agree that a majority of the county's population lives within 10 kilometers of the town of Whitecourt?
I think a large portion resides within 10 kilometers. I don't know the exact boundary where that cutoff would be, but yes, we definitely have a large population surrounding the town of Whitecourt.
All right, and so fair to say there are significant residential developments in the county that are located on the fringes of the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
And for county residents who live in those areas on the fringes of the town, within 10 kilometers of the town, what would be the closest indoor arena that they would have access to?
That would be the Scott Safety Center.
And that's operated by the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
And what would be the nearest indoor pool?
The Miller Center Pool, Aquatic Center.
And again, that's owned and operated by the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
And what would be the nearest curling rink?
There's within 10 kilometers, I would say that it's the Whitecourt Curling Club by the Miller Center.
All right. Can you turn ahead, Ms. Kennedy, to paragraph 16 of your witness statement?
Okay.
So here you've described a number of recreational facilities that you say town residents have access to. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So if we start with your paragraph A, Hard Luck Canyon, is it your understanding that the town of Whitecourt contributes a cost amount towards Hard Luck Canyon?
Yes, the town gives $10,000 to cover, to put towards Hard Luck Canyon and Groat Creek, a fixed amount of $10,000.
In paragraph B, you say there is a tubing put in site at McLeod River. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And McLeod River is located in Woodlands County, obviously.
Yeah.
Would you agree that the town has its own tubing slides at Rotary Park?
Yeah, I think they're two completely different things, but yes, the town has tubing at like a water slide. Yeah.
Okay. The difference being that McLeod River is a more rural site, so you're indicating that the experience is different, but you agree that there are tubing slides at Rotary Park in the town of Whitecourt. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. In your next paragraph C, so you have to flip to the next page. You refer to Groat Creek Groat Creek Group Campground and day use area. Would you agree, Ms. Kennedy, that the town also provides campgrounds within the town of Whitecourt?
I don't know if there are campgrounds within the town of Whitecourt. I don't think any of them are owned by the town of Whitecourt.
Okay, but there are campgrounds that are available within the boundaries of the town of Whitecourt.
Yes.
And again, is it your understanding that the town of Whitecourt, under the previous cost share agreement, contributed to the Groat Creek campground?
Yeah, that's included in the same amount as the Hard Luck. The $10,000 is for both.
Right. Okay. Then in paragraph D, you indicate that there's a boat launch and community dock at Goose Lake. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Am I correct in understanding that the boat launch and dock is not able to accommodate launching jet boats?
I don't see why the boat launch wouldn't do a jet boat.
To your knowledge, does it accommodate that?
I honestly wouldn't know if people use jet boats in Goose Lake.
Would you agree that the town of Whitecourt has a boat launch and dock at Riverboat Park?
I don't know if they have a dock, but I know they have a boat launch there.
And are you aware of whether that launch can accommodate jet boats?
Yes, they can.
You refer then in F to the Blue Ridge Recreation Site.
Yes.
Would you agree, Ms. Kennedy, that the town of Whitecourt also has a fishing pond in Rotary Park?
Yes.
And would you agree that there are a number of walking trails within the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
All right. And then if you turn to G, where you deal with the hamlet of Blue Ridge.
Can you slow down for a sec? I just need to catch up with my notes.
Yes, sorry, Ms. House.
ahead, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, you can probably anticipate my question now with respect to G, but would you agree that similar facilities and services are also available in the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
You refer specifically in the last bullet, so G7, to certain programming that occurs in the hamlet of Blue Ridge. Are you aware as to whether the town provides funding for any of those programs?
In the past, when the Blue Ridge Logging Days was more active, the town and the county gave money. I believe it was through the WWT program, the Whitecourt Woodlands Tourism. They were given grant money through that, so that the town would have contributed to that.
Okay. And does the town from time to time provide financial supports for some festivals that occur in the county as well?
Other than Blue Ridge Logging Days, I don't believe so, no.
All right. If you turn ahead to I within this paragraph.
Mhm.
Sorry, Ms. Kennedy, I've skipped over H, which is Goose Lake. Would you agree again that the town offers similar facilities or services within the town of Whitecourt to those set out in Goose Lake?
Yeah, I think the campground that there is quite a bit bigger with more amenities than what's offered in town, but similar. Yeah, they have a campground.
All right. So sorry, if you go ahead to I.
Okay.
Sorry, I may be moving too quickly again, but your next paragraph I deals with Fort Assiniboine. Do you see that?
Yes.
How far is Fort Assiniboine from the town of Whitecourt?
Probably like a 50-minute to an hour drive.
Okay. And about a 90-kilometer drive. Is that about right, Ms. Kennedy?
That sounds about right. Yeah, I don't know the exact distance.
And sorry, you said 50 minutes to an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, probably an hour is if you're being responsible doing the speed limit. I don't.
Okay, thanks. All right. And if you turn to the next subparagraph, J refers to Anselmo. How far approximately is Anselmo from the town of Whitecourt?
Oh, it'd be a little bit more than half an hour. I don't know. I guess I should say I don't know because I don't know the exact number.
All right, fair enough. Then in the last paragraph, Ms. Kennedy, you refer to Westward Hall.
Yes.
Am I correct that the hall is owned and operated by the Whitecourt District Agricultural Society?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the town provides funding to the Whitecourt District Agricultural Society?
Yes.
All right. If we talk about some of the town's facilities, I appreciate you may not in every case have direct knowledge or understanding, but are you familiar with the Alan and Jean Miller Center, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
And would you agree that the county has contributed in the past to capital costs necessary to construct that facility?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the Miller Center includes 3 indoor pools?
Yes.
And some of those pools have water slides, is that correct?
Yeah, I think the water slide is a separate thing, and then there's a top pool, and then a kind of intermediate depth pool, and then like a pool for swimming lanes.
Would you agree, Ms. Kennedy, that there are no other indoor pools in Woodlands County?
Yes.
And would you agree there are no other indoor water slides in the county?
Yes.
And am I correct that the Miller Center also houses an indoor field house?
Yes.
And am I correct that there is no other indoor field house in Woodlands County?
Yes, we would only have community halls with indoor kind of space like that, but no field house, like no running track.
All right. And the Miller Center also has a running track, correct?
Yes.
Are you familiar, Ms. Kennedy, with Eastlink Park?
Yes, I am.
And that's a winter recreation park located in the town of Whitecourt.
Yes.
Would you agree that the county contributed to capital costs to construct Eastlink Park?
I know we, excuse me, I know we gave a loan for some of the capital costs. And after that, I believe we were only doing operating costs.
All right. Eastlink Park includes ski and snowboarding hills. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are there any other ski or snowboarding hills located in Woodlands County?
No.
And would you agree Eastlink Park includes facilities for winter tubing runs?
Yes.
And are there any equivalent facilities to that located in Woodlands County?
No.
Am I correct that there is outside of the town of Whitecourt one other curling rink in Woodlands County?
Yes, Fort Assiniboine has a curling rink.
And outside of Fort Assiniboine, there's no other curling club within the county?
No, the closest one would be Mayerthorpe, but that's in the town of Mayerthorpe.
All right. Are you familiar with the Scott Safety Center that you referred to earlier?
Yeah.
And that facility houses indoor ice rinks, is that correct?
Yes.
And am I correct that the county also operates an indoor arena in Fort Assiniboine?
The Fort Assiniboine Agricultural Society operates the arena in Fort Assiniboine.
And is that the only other indoor arena within Woodlands County?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts, I'm trying to find the clearest version of the cost sharing agreement map that we can put on the screen for Ms. Kennedy. So I'm wondering if we could look at Mr. Frank's general evidence summary at page 28 and 29.
I think Ms. Antler can pull that up. Also, just while that's happening, she does have a copy of the first page of tab 5. So whenever you intend to get there, Mr. Ward, you're good to go.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt other than that. Just wanted to let you know.
No, thank you. Ms. House, do you want to deal with that now and have that marked as an exhibit? Sorry, you're muted, Ms. House.
Thank you. Yes, if you have no objections, we'll mark it as Exhibit 23.
Yes, I believe that's the right form that we can mark as an exhibit.
I also confirm. The document on the screen is the first page of tab 5. Thank you.
And sorry, Ms. House, you said that's exhibit 23.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kennedy, I asked you earlier if you were involved in respect of cost sharing, and you said you were not directly involved in dealing with the numbers. Are you familiar with this Schedule C of the previous cost sharing agreement between the town and county?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the formula used whereby you would add the populations of areas, what are called areas 1, 2, and 50% of area 3 in order to determine the cost share calculation?
Yes.
If you turn then to the next page, 29, this is Appendix D of that cost share agreement. Is it your understanding that this shows the area 1, 2, and 3 that we just referred to in terms of the cost sharing?
Yes.
And are you able to identify, and I appreciate this may not be the best map, but are you roughly able to identify, Ms. Kennedy, where the town of Whitecourt is located on that map?
You're zooming in. Yes, I can see it. Like, so if you go by area 1, it's to the east or to the right of that.
All right. So in the southeast corner of area 1.
Mm-hmm.
And am I correct, Ms. Kennedy, that Fort Assiniboine would not be found on this map?
Yeah, I don't believe so. It's kind of underneath where the pictures are, but I don't think it goes that far northeast.
All right. And sorry, perhaps you can just zoom out a little bit again. So would you agree, Ms. Kennedy, that Fort Assiniboine then would be off towards the northeast outside of these boundaries?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that Anselmo would be located at the very bottom of the map area in area 3?
Yes, it's in area 3.
And Blue Ridge would be located within area 2, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So Ms. Kennedy, just to confirm, based on what we've discussed earlier, would you agree that within areas 1, 2, and 3, the only indoor arenas are located in the town of Whitecourt?
Like within the Woodlands County boundary?
Sorry, within these areas 1, 2, and 3 that are identified on the map here.
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree that the only curling rink within these areas is located in the town of Whitecourt?
Yep.
And same with the indoor pool would only be located in the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
Would you also agree, Ms. Kennedy, that the only school grounds within this area would be located in the town of Whitecourt?
Yes.
Would you agree that the only gymnastic center in area 1, 2, and 3 would be located within the town of Whitecourt?
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, there's no other gymnastics.
Okay. And if we refer to outdoor skating rinks, I believe there is an outdoor skating rink in Blue Ridge in area 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
And otherwise, with the exception of that one, the only outdoor skating rinks would also be located within the town of Whitecourt?
No, and Selmo down in area 3, there's also an outdoor skating rink.
Okay.
And I think there's numerous rinks like in people's yards out in the county, but not formal ones with boards and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Kennedy, would you agree that the town hosts certain large-scale events each year, like, for example, the Party in the Park?
Yes,
And are you familiar with what's involved in the Party in the Park?
I am.
What would you describe that as being, Ms. Kennedy?
Typically, there's bouncy castles and activities for the kids during the day with lots of food trucks, and then evening entertainment where they bring in various bands to play over multiple nights.
And that's hosted in the town of Whitecourt and Rotary Park each year, is that correct?
Yes, at Rotary Park.
And is that event open to both town and county residents?
Yeah, anyone can go, anyone can attend.
And are you aware that a significant number of county residents attend that event each year?
I wouldn't know who all attends, but I would assume it's busy. A lot of people go there.
Right. Does the county host any event of similar size or scale as Party in the Park?
We wouldn't have anything like we have some events, they would be smaller than Party in the Park.
Does the town also host other events such as fireworks on Canada Day each year?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Kennedy, sorry, can you turn to tab 4 of your witness statement?
Okay, yeah, I have it.
So firstly, Ms. Kennedy, do you recognize this as being a report, and then subsequently as part of tab 4, you've also included the recreation master plan that was included in 2017?
Yes.
Were you involved in developing or preparing that document?
Yes.
What was your role in developing the recreation master plan?
I was involved in preparing the RFP and whatnot to go out and choosing the consultant that did the work, and then the supervision of the project and helping set up open houses through the various communities and whatnot. Yeah.
Were you the contact person at the county for RC Strategies when they prepared that report?
Yes.
All right. If you turn to page 111 of your witness statement. Do you agree this is an excerpt from that recreation master plan prepared by RC Strategies?
Yes.
In the first box, it refers to an issue and says it is not feasible for Woodlands County to directly deliver specialized recreational infrastructure such as aquatic, arena, and fitness facilities, as they require a large centralized population base, critical mass to operate at a reasonable level of subsidy. Do you recall them addressing that issue, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Did you agree with the conclusion that it was not feasible for the county to deliver those services?
Yes.
Did you also agree with what they've called the ideal state as being county residents having equitable access to specialized recreation infrastructure?
Yes.
And would you agree, Ms. Kennedy, that the county relies on the town of Whitecourt to be able to provide specialized recreational activities that are otherwise unavailable in the county?
I believe we rely on the town and other partners such as Mayerthorpe has facilities that we also use, and our residents in Fort Assiniboine also go to other urban centers in Barrhead. So in combination of, we rely on multiple partners for some of those specialized facilities.
All right. So when you refer to Barrhead, that is for residents living in or around Fort Assiniboine. Is that what you said, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, a lot of our Fort residents go there.
And then you referred to the town of Mayerthorpe as well.
Yes, they have an arena, curling rink, outdoor pool, splash park. And I know our residents use those facilities also.
Okay. How far is the town of Mayerthorpe from the town of Whitecourt?
Oh, I don't know the exact kilometers, but I think it's around 25 minutes.
Okay. And am I right, Ms. Kennedy, that the town of Mayerthorpe does not have any indoor pool?
That's correct. They only have an outdoor pool.
And so they don't have an indoor running track that you described earlier either?
No, I believe their residents use the Diamond Center, which is, it's more like a hall. It's not a, you can go in there and do things, but it's not a formal track such as the Miller Center.
All right, it's not an indoor field house like what the Miller Center has.
No.
Sorry, I asked in the negative. Am I correct that it's not an indoor field house, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, you're correct. So other than facilities in Barrhead for residents in Fort Assiniboine and Mayerthorpe, are there any other partners you rely on to deliver recreational services? No.
Does the county currently have an agreement with the town of Mayerthorpe with respect to contribution of funds for recreational services?
We had in the past, and then I believe they are in the process of signing a new one. They've given money this year is in the budget for them. I wouldn't know if that contract is finalized. That was something that Ms. Lutwig was working on.
And do you know how much money they provide or have budgeted to provide to the town of Mayerthorpe this year?
I believe it's around 55,000, but I don't know 100%.
Okay. On this page, Ms. Kennedy, it refers to a household survey. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Were you involved in the process of putting together that survey?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that 91% of the respondents to that survey stated that municipalities in the area should work together to provide recreational opportunities for residents?
Yes.
Do you recall what specific questions were asked? Was that the exact question that was put to them, or were there different questions asked, Ms. Kennedy?
The actual questionnaire was attached in here.
Okay.
I could find that for you if you wanted.
I can take you there, but your recollection of what was discussed would be based on the actual survey that we would look at that you've included. Is that fair, Ms. Kennedy?
That's fair. Yep.
Can you turn to paragraph 20 of your witness statement? So this will be back on page 7.
Yes.
So here, Ms. Kennedy, you refer to a survey the county undertook using summer students. Do you see that?
Yep.
How many students were hired to undertake the survey?
So there weren't additional students hired. These were our Parks and Rec students that we already have working. We just asked them to work extra hours on a weekend.
And how many of them were asked to do that work?
I believe there was 4 of them.
And do you know, Ms. Kennedy, whether the students were told that their survey results would be used as evidence in this arbitration?
No, they were not told that. I was the one that gave them the instructions for filling the forms out.
And so the surveys were conducted on June 26 and 27 and July 12th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And were there any other surveys done outside of those dates?
No.
All right. And so you indicate that visitors were surveyed at McLeod River, Tubing put in, Hard Luck Canyon, Blue Ridge Spray Park, Blue Ridge Recreation Area, and Schumann Lake. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you know whether visitors were surveyed at each of those sites on each of the 3 dates that we just described?
No, they weren't. So the dates are on the sheets, but Tubing, we had somebody at the Tubing sites both Saturday and Sunday all day. Hard Luck Canyon was only on the Sunday, for example. It was based on sort of student availability that we had when they were willing to work.
And do you know exactly when the students were present on each site to conduct the surveys on the dates you identified?
Yes, they have the dates marked on the sheets that were submitted. And the times.
Can we bring up what has been marked as Exhibit 23? All right, so if we start with the McLeod River tubing put in, I take it from this that the surveys were only conducted on June 26 and 27. Is that right?
That's right.
And do you know how many students were assigned to do the surveys at that location?
This was one student for both days, the same student.
Okay. And do you know if the students surveyed every visitor on those dates or just some of the visitors that arrived?
Her attempt was to get everyone, but there were several that slipped by and she noted that on the sheets. At times it was just too busy for her to ask everybody where they were from and whatnot.
All right. And if we turn to, sorry, I'll come back to this, but if we turn to your evidence statement at page 132. When I asked you about the times, I take it if I ask you how long they were there, would you agree that it would be between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. based on the note in the top left corner?
Yes. And that's what they were in that was their instructions.
And did they take breaks over the course of the day?
No, I think they just sat there and stayed there.
Including over lunch?
Yes.
Okay. If you turn to page 156. It looks to me like the survey at Hard Luck Canyon didn't start until 10:30 on June 27th. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And if you turn ahead to page 162,
Yes.
it looks like the last entry shows a time of 3:30 p.m. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And does that suggest there were no other visitors after that time, or are you not certain exactly when they would have finished surveying results on that day?
They were working kind of 10 till 4, so they would have left the site then at 3:30 and come back to town for 4.
If you turn ahead to the next page, 163, with respect to the Blue Ridge Spray Park, there aren't times noted there. Do you know when the students were present at the spray park on June 26 and 27?
I think there are times there. It just looks like it's a 1 for those 3 times. And what was happening with the spray park, because it wasn't that busy, the person that was doing the Blue Ridge Rec area also popped up. So you can see on the top, it says stop by at 1 p.m. and then again at 2:20. So at the spray park, the student didn't stay there all day.
Okay.
I believe this was Abby, and Abby also did Schumann Lake.
So she was trying to do both of those at the same time. Is that right, Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Do you know what specific questions the summer students asked each visitor?
Yes.
Okay, what question did they ask them?
The ones that are here on the sheet, they would have asked where they were from. Then if they've been there before, how often do they visit? How did they hear about the site? And then we were trying to gather information on what the visitors would want to see or what they were happy with. So we gave them an opportunity to provide some comments.
And were they asked to read out those questions verbatim to each visitor?
Yeah, I did give them a sheet that had all the questions listed. But
Yeah, I guess in fairness, you're not sure what was actually asked. What you know is what you instructed them to do, Ms. Kennedy. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I'm assuming if they at least asked the questions that were on here, if they filled out an answer for them.
And do you know if the students tracked the addresses for any of the visitors?
No, they did not. They were only asking Town of Whitecourt, Woodlands County, or other.
And are you aware, Ms. Kennedy, that people who live in the residential area on the fringes of Whitecourt often refer to themselves as being from Whitecourt?
Yes.
And so for those residents, is it possible that when they say they're from Whitecourt, they would actually be residing in an address within Woodlands County?
There is potential, but I guess if you're asking if you're from Town of Whitecourt or Woodlands, you would hope that would draw out of them which one they're from, but.
Mr. Ward, just so you know, I'm not going to let the witness speculate anymore about whether or not what people have in their minds about where they're from. That's good.
All right, Ms. Kennedy, in any event, it wasn't a case where the summer students were asking for identification or any further information beyond the questions that are stated in this form. Is that fair?
That's fair.
And Ms. Kennedy, you indicated with respect to Blue Ridge Spray Park that there were not a large number of visitors. I won't ask you to confirm the numbers in the documents. It looks to me like there were only 41 total visitors surveyed across the 3 days at the spray park. Is it your understanding that reflects the total number of people that were attending at that facility over the 3 days?
Yes, during that time period between the 10:30 till 3:30 time period.
And the statistics that you've described here and in paragraphs 20 and 21 of your witness statement, are those the only statistics the county has compiled regarding users at these recreation sites?
Sorry, can you clarify? Are you questioning if we've done a similar survey in the past?
Yes, that's correct.
In 2017, we did have students collecting some data, but we only summarized it as if there were people from Whitecourt present or not. And they did it on their regular rounds when they were cleaning the sites, like going from site to site. They were just casually asking who was there and filled out a very similar spreadsheet. But somebody wasn't sort of stationed at that site all day. It was just in their regular maintenance duties.
All right, and other than that, and the current results you've included, are there any other statistics the county has gathered with respect to usage of its facilities?
Our Blue Ridge Family Fun Day that we host out at the Blue Ridge Rec area, there are user stats on that Ms. Anderson would have collected over the years.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Kennedy?
No, I don't have, for the rec site specifically, we haven't collected any other data.
All right. And I take it then that the county hasn't provided any usage statistics to the town of Whitecourt in relation to these facilities, other than including this in your witness statement, Ms. Kennedy. Is that correct?
That's correct. Ms.
House, I'm mindful it's 11 o'clock. I don't have very much left, but if you want to take a short break, I'm happy to do that. And perhaps that can save the usual few-minute break I would take before the end of my questioning in any event and get that done now as well.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe we can take 15 minutes.
Sure, that sounds good. Thank you.
Ms. Kennedy, you're just still under oath. You can't discuss your evidence with anybody, but just come back in 15 minutes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You don't have to log off. You can just turn your, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Ward.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, can I get you to turn to paragraph 24 of your statement? That's on page 7.
Yep.
So you refer here to the town creating the Community Services Advisory Board. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Would you agree that the county has representation on the town's Community Services Advisory Board?
They have one counselor on the board.
And is that representative appointed by Woodlands County's council?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy, have you ever attended a Community Services Advisory Board meeting?
Yeah, I was at only one, but I was there. Yeah.
So are county administration able to attend those meetings where they want to?
I believe if I wanted to attend one of the meetings, they would have no issues with that.
And would you agree that the Community Services Advisory Board makes recommendations on the planning and delivery of recreational services in the town?
Yes.
Is it also your understanding that the town and county have established a joint advisory committee?
The Joint Liaison Committee? Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Am I correct that the town and county have equal representation on the Joint Liaison Committee?
Yes.
If the county had a particular concern or request relating to recreational services, is it able to bring that concern or request to the Joint Liaison Committee for consideration?
Yes, I assume they could bring any concerns forward. Yeah.
Could you bring up Ms. Grande's statement on recreational services, please? If you turn to page 24 of that statement. Can you see that, Ms. Kennedy, or do you have it there that you're looking for?
I'm just trying to find, is that the Joint Liaison Committee meeting minutes from April 5th?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see it.
This is an example of Joint Liaison Committee minutes. If you actually turn to the next page, page 25.
Yep.
In the middle of the page there's a heading, Mountain Bike Association. And there's a reference to a motion pertaining to the Mountain Bike Association. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it says it's moved by Councillor Govenlock. Is Councillor Govenlock a councillor from Woodlands County?
Yes, he is.
And then further down, there is a motion pertaining to Eastlink Park. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And that's moved by Mayor Rennie. Am I correct that Mayor Rennie is the mayor of Woodlands County?
Yes. No, not right now, at the time.
Sorry. At the time of the motion was made, he was the mayor of Woodlands County. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Would you agree that either municipality then can bring motions related to recreational services to the Joint Liaison Committee for consideration if they choose to do so?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Those are all my questions.
Is there anything arising, Ms. Roberts?
No, sorry, I was taking a moment to find my unmute button. No, I do not have anything arising. Thank you.
And I have no questions for the witness either. So Ms. Kennedy, thank you very much for making the time for us today. You're free to go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Hauser, are we taking a break now until we have Mr. West coming at 1 o'clock?
Yes, Mr. West was the one who we asked him to come earlier today, but he was only available starting at 1 o'clock. So I realize it will make for an extended break, but we're not in a position to start before then, I'm afraid.
And I think that's what we had agreed before. So that's fine. We'll stand recessed until 1 p.m.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm